Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to the Bump Draft and Pray podcast. I am your host, Pedro Barbosa, and with me I have Mr. Earl Goddard. Hello.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm fine. A little bit stressed because I almost messed up the intro. But yeah, we will soldier on, I think. I did everything right. So, yeah, we have a kind of a slow start of the week because we didn't have that much news, as much as we expected, at least. But we have some stuff to talk about, and we'll probably start with the drivers market. We had two announcements this last week that will kind of impact on how we'll go forward from here. So the first one was a confirmation from Mr. Latifi and Williams that he will not be in the team for next year. I
saw that one coming.
Yeah. I don't want to be unkind, but yeah, his performances, at least this year, hasn't been up to scratch on what he needs to do to keep his seat in Formula One. Let's be honest.
To be fair, I think as soon as De Vries did what he did, that was it. He knew he was on his way out. It's just a matter of when they announced it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the interesting part is that it seems that they will not get reviews after all. The way the market is going and interest is from some other teams, I think that he might, I think the Vries right now has the cards all in his hands. So, but yeah, they took it up to themselves to realize that they really needed a better driver on that seat. So, yeah.
Yeah, so, but also De Vries is in for the next round, so that will be interesting if he backs it up, isn't he?
Is it confirmed?
No.
It's not confirmed yet.
No, I think it's not confirmed yet, yeah. No, I jumped ahead of the gun there.
Yeah, I think it jumped a little bit because we're still not sure if Alex Albon is going to be up for it in terms of health. He had a respiratory arrest or something like that while getting his appendix removed. So we still have to see there if he will race or not. If he will not race, probably there's going to be the Vries there.
It'd be interesting if he did get a second go at it to see if it was, to back it up.
Yeah, but do you think it's better for him to back it up, or at least have a shot to back it up, or just don't have that shot? Because I feel like Singapore is not going to be easy on the Williams.
No, and there's also a chance that it could make him look bad and all his hard work has been undone. So It'd be interesting to see, though. But I think from his standings, he'd like to now just sit back, sign a contract, and wait the rest of the year out. Would be ideal scenario.
Yeah, he now holds all the cards because Williams are interested. They even US Capital has even talked about that. He was last week in the Alpine test in the Hungaroring. And Red Bull has been thinking about putting him in the second available seat in the AlphaTauri. So he seems to have many options right now. So I think it's I'm not going to jump ahead, but Tsunoda has been confirmed in the second, in the other seat in the AlphaTauri. And do you think that maybe De Vries will probably be on one of two seats in the Red Bull, in the AlphaTauri seat or the Alpine? Or it's just it will be on the AlphaTauri or in Williams.
I'm surprised he would be in the AlphaTauri, being as Red Bull have such a stock of drivers in their program, and traditionally until Perez, they've only used their drivers. And as far as I know, De Vries isn't.
No, he's a
Red Bull
Mercedes
driver.
No, he's a Mercedes driver.
So I would find it strange for Red Bull to suddenly go, "Oh, we'll just take someone else." I know they were going for Colton, but
I think their problem is that the Red Bull juniors didn't do that well this year, so none of them is a real like expected candidate to just jump into the car. So yeah. I think maybe it's that, and there's reports that, and even I think even Nico de Vries admitted that he went to Austria to talk with Helmut Marko. So it just depends. Just depends.
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, like we say, this is all going to be down to Pierre and where he ends up, and I think Alpine would be a good move for him to get away from Red Bull, because he obviously had his go in the main team, and I don't think the pressure works for him that Christian and Helmut put on you, that authoritarian, like, you must do this time, go. I don't know whether he responds to that. I think whereas Sauber stroke AlphaTauri, they seem to be a lot more like the Eddie Jordan style of run, like give the guy a hug and say, "You're okay, man, you're good, just go on." In more family environment, friendlier, probably better phrase.
Yeah, the thing, and Helmut Marko did while announcing Tsunoda, he said something that it's completely out of character. He basically said that a driver needs 3 seasons to develop into a real Formula 1 driver, but they haven't been shy of just dropping drivers after 1 season. So
half a season, yeah,
or even half a season. So it's a bit strange.
I think for Pierre's own interests, I think the sooner he can get away from the Red Bull and being stuck in let's be honest, they're not going to put him back in the main team. So he's either going to spend the rest of his career at AlphaTauri and then get sacked off when someone else does do good in the rookie system. But at least now, jump ship, get away from them and focus on building the rest of your career.
Yeah, it does seem like that. I think Pierre wants to get out. AlphaTauri seems to want him. If AlphaTauri, no, Alpine seems to want him. If that's a good idea or not, I'm not completely sure. For Alpine, I'm talking for Alpine, but in recent times they haven't been making the right decisions or getting everything running as they should. So they lost 2 very good drivers just from mismanaging them. So I don't know, because I don't feel Pierre would add that much to Alpine. He's in a similar place to Ocon, that I don't really know what he brings to the team, to be honest. He brings certainly a similar amount of experience. They are about the same age. They both race winners with a midfield car. Let's say that. And so I don't really get. I don't get either. Ocon is not the driver that they want for the future, and it's 1 more year and then drop him. And Pierre is going to be their main man, and then I don't know, bring a junior driver, or I think that they should be just putting a Jack Doohan, for example, into the car. I think it will be better, but they seem keen on the all French driver lineup. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense for me. And even knowing, because we all know that they have problems personally. between the two of them. So it's I don't know. I will like to see it. It all go up in flames. We will all enjoy it, and we'll give good content for the podcast. So in that way, please please contract Pierre. But yeah, for a team standpoint, I don't see it working that well or making sense.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I think if you can tell me I'm a turnip and just.
No, I sort of agree with you. He's not an Alonso. He's not a established team leader superstar. He's a very good midfield driver. He's an Ocon. They are the same. Like you say, they're basically the same, identical. So,
but Ricardo is.
Yeah, but Ricardo, well, he's not going back there. I can't see that ever happening. No, that's I'll eat my proverbial hat with the old phrase. If he goes back there, I can't see him wanting to. Otherwise, he'd never have left, and I can't see Alpine wanting him after he turned his back on them. So.
Yeah,
I think a junior would be good. Yeah. I think there's enough GP2 guys out there. They've proven that they're fast enough and they're capable, sort of thing. And Alpine have even said that it might have been in jest, but about getting rid of their junior setup because it's easier to poach drivers from other teams with, save the money from the junior team and poach drivers because that's what's happened to them.
Yeah.
So, yes. So then, ideally, doing would be good. It's a name. They're going to get the media attention. That side of it, PR-wise, is good. He's quick. Let's not dispute. He's quick. So that would be but then they are French, so.
Yeah, that's the thing. On the one hand, I think Ricardo, if they didn't have problems between them, I'm either Ricardo not wanting to be there because he's sort of seeing it as a demotion, or he was the guy leaving, and Alpine don't wanting him because he left them. But it's crazy because it's the perfect driver for that seat. He's experienced. He is more experienced than Ocon. He has that star quality about him. I know the past 2 years he didn't really show it, but he is that kind of a driver. So yeah, that's crazy. On the Alpine Academy, I don't know what they call it. It used to be Renault Academy or something like that.
Yeah.
If they don't put Duan there, I think it's the end of the Alpine Academy. But I think they are dropping it in a false pretense of that poaching that you talked about, because I know that they have spent money with Piastri, but they really mismanaged that part. And yeah, I don't. It's just even Christian Horner said that because Piastri drove for his team in F4, I think.
Yeah.
It's the Arden team, or I don't know.
Arden, yeah.
It's Arden. I think he drove them, or British F3 or something like that, and they had a opportunity to put him under contract with Red Bull, and they didn't. And he says that it's one of the worst decisions that the academy did in the last years. So I don't know, but it doesn't sound completely true what Alpine are saying about the academy. They picked him up, I think it was way more recently that most academies normally do. They pick the drivers up from very low level, and they got him at an already high level. So I don't know. It seems something that they don't want to do, and they are getting just justifications just because they don't want to drop that thing. I don't know. It's a mess. It's basically a mess. So, and I was reading I heard this and I was reading about it as well. Another driver that seems to be out of F1, it's Mr. Mick Schumacher. I don't see him going anywhere right now. He's probably going to be dropped from Haas. Gunther Steiner still says that he is one of the possibilities, but let's not kid ourselves. That something there isn't working, and I think it's more with the with what Mick brings in terms. I've heard this theory that it's basically the Schumacher family, that it's creating some sort of bad like ambient is going on through that camp in Haas. I think his posse is making some stuff, making up some stuff inside Haas. So it seems that's the part not working, not really his performances on track, because he's been really better for a long time now. So I don't know, but I don't see him going anywhere. Actually, we should have
there aren't really any spaces for him to go anywhere, is there? And he's not going to want to be a reserve driver.
There is one possibility for him in F1, and we're supposed. I'm even. Oh no, that's so breaking news. Guan Yu Zhou stays in Alfa Romeo for 2023. I just opened. I was going to check the Alfa Romeo Facebook to see if they were going to, because they said they were going to announce something today, and this is the seat that I thought that Mick Schumacher could go to.
Yeah,
but apparently not. Bottas is under contract, and they want him, and Guan Yu Zhu or Zhu Guan Yu, because I think in Chinese they swap the first and last names. Joe is going to stay in Alfa Romeo, so now I don't see anywhere for him to go, unless, and let's put I'm putting my conspiracy hat on top. If De Vries goes to AlphaTauri and if Gasly goes to Alpine, maybe he has a chance to be in Williams, maybe?
Yes, well, it'd be the only seat left.
Yeah, basically.
And he's not going to want to be a third driver, is he?
Yeah.
Now that he's in there, and there aren't very many test driver, reserve driver spaces left.
No, the obvious one would be Ferrari, but they have, they still have, the Italian.
Italian.
The Italian.
There's lots of Italians.
Former Alfa Romeo driver. I'm seeing his face. Giovinazzi, that's the one. Giovinazzi is their simulator driver, and I don't think that they're going to drop him. Sebastian Vettel was very complimentary of his skills in the simulator, and he's a Ferrari driver through and through. So, and Italian. So I don't see Mick taking over there.
No.
So yeah, I don't see that happening unless Alpine goes for him. Alpine ran Giovinazzi last week as well, but I don't see that. To be honest, I don't know. I feel it would be better to put Jack Doohan there. It would make more sense than Giovinazzi, which he is not that young. I can.
Well, the other one is if Gasly stays, Alpine takes Schumacher, and then that leaves a seat at Williams and Haas.
Yeah. I don't know. Haas is one of those.
Ricardo goes to Haas.
I saw a video saying that.
Goes to Williams, and there we go. Solved it.
Yeah. Let's see.
Although Ricciardo can't go to Haas because Ricciardo's going to be doing IndyCar next year. We decided.
Oh, we decided. I was confused right now. So we decided.
That's where he should be. So
yeah, Giovinazzi is 28 years old. He's not a junior driver anymore, and yeah, I don't see him being having a seat in Formula One from now on. To be honest, I think he's almost a Pascal Wehrlein of this era. One of those drivers that promised so much, and then his career in Formula One went nowhere. And he didn't even have a good season this year in Formula E. So he drove for the Penske team, and I think he was nowhere, to be honest. So yeah, I really don't see it happening. I think Giovinazzi will be one of the drivers in the new hypercar, Ferrari hypercar, and I think that would be his best chance. And probably it's going to be where Mick ends up in as well.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think.
Dunno.
I don't know. So who would you put under contract for Haas, considering that Mick is not an option?
I don't know. It's a tough one, is it? There's what junior drivers Ferrari got sitting around or are Haas still going to have their links to Ferrari?
Probably,
because they've. Yeah, so I don't know.
They have a Haas contingent in Maranello right now. So there's a section in Maranello that's Haas's. So previous Ferrari engineers are working for Haas right now. So yeah, I don't know. It might be a junior driver, but I don't see which one from Ferrari.
I think then also Haas will want some form of, after having a couple of years of dreadfulness and then a few spells of good this season and with a better car, I don't think they really want a junior driver unless it's someone who's showing the potential like Mick did, where this is a good option. You say the fact we don't know who the junior drivers are currently in the Ferrari is a bit of a. There's no Leclerc. There is a Leclerc.
There is a Leclerc.
But he's not shining as brightly as Big Brother, is he?
No, he's stuck in F3. He seems to have been stuck in F3 for a few years now. So yeah,
he's quick. But he's reckless. The few races I've watched with him, he's either pole and disappears off and drives away from everyone, perfect race, or he makes stupid mistakes and he's then in the back of the pack and bumping and it just he either walks away with it or it's a nightmare. So not very good when the teams are looking for you for Formula One.
Yeah,
he's going to get a GP2 drive or F2 because he is Leclerc, so the name will get him through, or Big Brother will put some money to it. But
I think only if you only count the last name that he has, you will probably keep him in Ferrari. So in the Ferrari Academy, at least for now, even if it's to end up in the hypercar project. Even if it's that. They're
going to need a lot of seats in this hypercar because everyone you've got is going into hypercar.
Yeah, but to be honest, they might have to have at least 6 drivers in there. I don't know how many cars they are bringing to the project, but probably 2, being Ferrari and wanting to win Le Mans, you have to go with 2 cars, or you will end up nowhere, like Alpine is in WC right now. So, yeah.
So to go on your junior drivers for Haas, you've got Robert Schwartzman, who's one of the top F2 boys, who's been winning races in at the front. He's a junior driver.
Yeah.
Arthur Leclerc, Oliver Bierman, Rafael Camara, but I think he's in F3. Mick Schumacher, he's not happening. And then James Wharton. So Schwartzman could be an option if Ferrari wanted to place someone. He's got a couple of years of F2 behind him. I think he came close to winning it, but it was up against I think he was mixed teammate.
I don't see. It has to be a very bad environment around Mick and Haas, because I don't see any of these drivers being a better option than Mick, to be honest. Now that he's showing something and he has the name around him, the Schumacher name has some value everywhere, but even more in motorsports. He's a good driver. He's not a Charles, or it's not one of those like pure talented guys that go motor racing only on pure talent. He's a very hard worker, much like his father used to be a very hard worker, and as many people say that was his best attribute, that it worked more than anyone else. Yeah, I don't know. I think I never liked Michael Schumacher, but I don't know. I have more empathy for Mick, and he seems to be a nice guy and a good driver and a very hard worker. But I don't know. It doesn't seem to be working at Haas, so we will. And it's way soon for him to be under contract with Audi for the new team, because it will be Alfa Romeo until the end of next year. So I don't know. It's confusing, to say the least. And that project, it's confusing because they are going to stop being Alfa Romeo in the end of next year, and from 2024 until 2026 we still don't know what's going to happen. We think that Audi has already bought them, but they are not going to call that team Audi and run Ferrari engines, and they have to have an engine from 2024 to 2026, so it's still a little bit confusing. And Audi are supposed to announce the team that they buy this year. They said that they were going to announce it until the end of the year. So I don't know. It seems to be very confusing right now, that part. So yeah.
So what's the space one?
Yeah, it's basically one of those. Yeah. So that's basically it, I think, because we don't have more one driver that we didn't talk about, and we seem to that I don't understand right now. It's the current Formula 2 champion, Mr. Drugovich, which he is under contract with Aston for a reserve driver, but I don't really understand why he's not being talked for the seats that are available. He's clearly a very good driver. So I don't know I don't understand the move for Aston reserve driver, because he is not going to drive there for at least a couple of years. And will he have the license points in 2 years?
Well, let's not go on to the license points. that's it. We've done that, and how dreadful it is. Yeah, it is a strange one. I think, is it more Aston just knee-jerking after De Vries disappeared off, because he was there or driving with them at one point, are they just knee-jerking going, we need someone top F2 driver on the books? Is Stroll going to go into team management and they're going to get rid of him? What's going to happen there? So,
unless he has got bored with F1, I don't see it, to be honest. He will be there until the car is good or until it's embarrassing to be there. I don't know if Alonso will be the driver to make it embarrassing. It's a very high. It has a very high probability of that happening. I think what they are hoping is that he is at least close to Alonso to reaffirm his talent that he might or might not have. I don't know. It's crazy. I think that they wanted another driver to be a reserve driver because Nick de Vries was not their reserve driver. It was Mercedes reserve driver, and they all shared. I think McLaren, Aston, Williams, and Mercedes shared de Vries as a reserve driver since the COVID hit. So maybe they want their own reserve driver so that they are not reliant on Mercedes, basically. So yeah,
and Djokovic is a good choice for it. I mean, I don't know how good a move it is for him.
Yeah, that was my point for him.
He's getting he's obviously getting a bit of a retainer and doesn't have to worry. But where they're going to put him to race, there isn't anywhere. He's done the F2 thing, so they can't stick him in there. Can't send him over to America because then that's it. He's gone. He's never coming back. So yeah, are they just going to hang him out to dry? And in a couple of years, if he's not been used, kick him out to boot and bring someone else in?
I don't know.
I fear is what they're going to do.
I think it's what they want to do. But I don't really know if his contract is only for this year or if it's for the next two, like for 2024, 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, let's be honest, contracts aren't worth anything in F1, are they? We've seen those changed very quickly and broken or paid out. So
yeah, because it might happen that, I don't know, De Vries goes to AlphaTauri and Gasly goes to Alpine, and that if he doesn't have a contract for 2023, he might end up in Williams to be at least a race seat, and it's a good driver to have there, and probably driving wise a better option right now than Logan Sargent. That it's Williams like driver from their academy is one of the academy drivers. So yeah, about I just remembered two things. One of them would be that Haas actually might be one option for Ricardo, just because the salaries, like, they might be able to get him very cheaply, because let's say that he got 20 million euros from McLaren, or $20 million from McLaren. So if they contract him for 2 million, he still gets the 20 million. So they only give 2 million and McLaren only spends 18 million, which is crazy. And they must have the money. I heard that Magnussen is on a crazy amount of money. I think he's one of the better paid drivers from at least the midfield. So they must have.
But is that because they were in trouble last year and phoning up last minute and going, we need you to come back after sacking him off, that he was able to command a bit more?
He might be able to command a bit more, but I don't really understand.
And then he came in and had P6 in the first race, and he's had some good results. So
yeah, but think this. any driver that almost any driver that they would pick up, and there are many drivers that wouldn't mind to go to Haas, would make a better job. Would be an upgrade from last year. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's all with a team like that. It's always what you get from the money that you pay. Because the more points that you get from the guy, the more money you get. So it's always a play on that for those guys, because it's not like the top teams that want the best driver for the job, because they know that even if they put Mazepin in the car, he's going to take a couple of points just because the car is way better than the other ones. So in the midfield, it's a little bit different on that part. So yeah, but he's a very good driver. The only thing I don't like about him was that he won the Formula 3.5 Renault 3.5 championship from Antonio Felix Acosta. So yeah, that's the only gripe I have with him. But yeah, but Felix Acosta is a world champion and he's not. Yay. I'm only joking, guys. I'm only joking. So yeah, one thing about the super license, like the Formula One license, the race.com came up with a video, and they could find at least 8 world champions that wouldn't even be eligible to race in Formula One if the license was in motion when they entered Formula One. And it has crazy names like Alan Jones and Niki Lauda and Kimi Räikkönen and Sebastian Vettel. So yeah, I will not say anymore, but it's one more reason to have to do something with that.
I think we can all agree it definitely needs reworking, rebuilding, scrapping. They need to do something. It needs changing, because the sport, I think, as we said last episode, Colton Herta in F1 would have been huge, because he's at the right time. He's not going to be disgraceful to any of the other Americans, but he's not a has-been American who's just got a good name like Andretti or something like that, who comes over at the end of their career and can't put it. He's in the prime. He's very quick and clearly wants to be in F1, where a lot of IndyCar drivers, just the Americans, like they're happy to stay in their country.
Yeah.
So I think it's robbing Formula One of potentially a whole new era and dimension of racing with the different countries, and also the marketing aspect for America, which now has 3 races in the calendar for next year. It's just, why the push to have so many races in America and then not let an American race in the series? It just seems stupid.
Yeah, and Formula One always has had a healthy, like it has competed with IndyCar or kart. Well, that we're not going to start talking about that whole shenanigans, but
yeah,
F1 has always had an healthy relationship with open wheel series in America. We've had some world champions going from here to there and there to here. We had Zanardi went from here to there and became a major champion in the kart back then.
Yep.
We've had the opposite as well. We had Villeneuve, Jacques Villeneuve, coming as a kart champion to Formula One and winning the world championship. And think about the shenanigans we wouldn't have if he didn't come. The entertainment, the amount of entertainment. Yeah. We had Juan Pablo Montoya, which was one of the most exciting drivers of the 2000s in F1. He made those years that he was in mainly in the Williams BMW team, where the fights that he had with Schumacher. I don't know. I've always liked that interchangeability of drivers between series and the series, and I don't know, just shutting the door there, it's crazy. For me, it's crazy not to have that door open. It takes away from the sport a lot.
Oh, massively.
Huge amount. So yeah, that needs to be fixed. So, but it's crazy that we get that door shut when we have American owners in Formula One. Yeah.
Exactly. You would think they'd be going, right, no more British, no more Spanish. Right, we want get some Canadians in. Oh, we've got a Canadian. Yeah. Get some more Americans. I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense.
Zero sense.
Zero sense at all. So yeah, next topic is going to be next year's calendar.
Which also makes zero sense at points.
Absolutely zero sense. One of the two first things that jump to my eyes is that we have one more race than this year. So we'll have 25 races. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
24.
24. Yeah, we have 23. Yeah, it says 24 on the bottom. So we had 23. We didn't have 23 this year, 22 because Russia was dropped. So we have one more race this year than next year, or two more races than this year. France is out, which is not a shame because of the track where it was, but a shame because of the country it is. Let's not forget the FIA is based in France, so it's one of those that doesn't make really much sense at all. We have China. I think this is still not sure that China is going to happen, because the borders must open because of COVID restrictions for that to happen. But they have already the promoters to do it if it is available to do, like the borders open and all that stuff. The other thing that we now have few of is those tracks that we had come into the sport in the COVID times. So Portugal was already off this year, and Turkey is off as well for next year. So the only track, and Mugello was already off. So the only track we will have that came back, or in this case came back, is Imola, is going to continue. And I don't know, what doesn't make sense is the way that the championship is structured and where we go from where. Because we have basically Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Australia then to China, to Azerbaijan, to Miami, and then to Europe. It seems like we're jumping around a lot, and this could be structured much better. And for a sport that wants to be carbon neutral, doesn't make much sense at all. Yeah, what are your thoughts about this?
No, maybe they're going to buy carbon credits to get carbon neutral. I mean, obviously, Bahrain, Australia tend to be at the start, but yeah, it does seem to be a lot of toing and fro once you get into it.
Yeah, there's two tracks that have to be where they are, which is Bahrain, because they paid to be the first race, and Abu Dhabi, because they paid to be the last race.
Yeah.
That part is a given. Okay. And yeah, we have a Austria, the UK, Hungary, Belgium, Netherlands, and Italy, all consecutively. And that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that before Austria, you have Canada, and before Canada, you have Spain. So we go to Canada out of nowhere.
Traditionally, Canada used to be after Monaco, and then the British Grand Prix after Canada. That used to be the way it always was, and they've obviously now thrown Spain in there. I don't know. Obviously, some places have to fit the timeline in versus other races that they may have, or weather conditions. You don't want to go somewhere in monsoon season, as we've done previously, going to, was it China?
Yeah. China,
kept having flooding because they were going in typhoon season. I was like, well, it doesn't, not really clever to have a race in typhoon season, is it?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you have races that are at least nearby, so China and, for example, Japan are not that far away. I know that they are very far away if it's not as you look in the world map, but let's be honest, China is closer to Japan than it is to Azerbaijan, for example.
Yeah.
So chances are that if you're not in typhoon season in China, you're not going to be in typhoon season in Japan. So it doesn't make much sense to go from Australia to China, then to Azerbaijan, and then have the Japanese Grand Prix in the end of the year. It makes sense.
Then are the promoters' circuits paying to have specific dates because that's when they want to have the Grand Prix? Like you have first and last, they pay to be there, and are people paying because Japan want to be in September, so they're paying to have that date for whatever reason that they feel could be plausible? I'm purely speculating.
Yeah, but are the 24 tracks paying to be on a specific date? That's not
maybe so. No, maybe some of them are, which leaves, let's say, if you've got 10 tracks paying to have specific dates, that's why they fit the rest around it, and all of a sudden you have these wild jumps because, for example,
I've heard that Canada doesn't have that much money. I've heard, so why are they between Spain and Austria? Doesn't make much sense. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Maybe Spain and Austria have sort of saved those dates because they want to, and the only place to put Canada is in between there. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just they have to find a solution to this, because one of if we're really getting on board with this carbon neutral championship, and I agree with that. I'm not saying I don't agree with that. I'm not one of those that says, yeah, screw it, it's motorsports, it's bad for the environment. If we want to have it, we just have to accept that. I'm not one of those. I do think that we're always going to have stuff that we have to accept just because it is a motorsports based around carbon, like internal combustion engines, so we'll have that. But the thing that pollutes more, it's traveling. So it's not the actual cars on the track. So there has to be a solution for that. And the end of the championship is, again, it's one of those that doesn't make sense, because we go from Austin to Mexico to Sao Paulo and then to Las Vegas again. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And let's not kid ourselves. Sao Paulo, Interlagos is in the middle of nowhere compared to the rest of the circuits. So it's very far away. It doesn't make sense to go there. I don't know. I think that Las Vegas, they wanted to do, I think it goes around the weekend of how's it called, the Christmas thing that they do. What's the dinner? I don't know what's called. I'm not American. I don't have that.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yeah. I think it goes
and
there.
Also, don't forget, Vegas are obviously going to be spending an awful lot of money for a new circuit.
But it's Liberties. Las Vegas, it's Liberties. They are buying. So
exactly.
They could put in any. They are making this decision, so they could put it anywhere they want. So it doesn't make much sense to go to Brazil, then come back, then go to Abu Dhabi. Doesn't make much sense.
Maybe they're hoping to have the championship decider on the round before. But
I don't know. It's just, yeah, they have to find a solution for this, because if they really want to hit carbon neutral, they have to solve this, because it doesn't make sense. Logistics wise, doesn't make sense.
The super license list.
Yeah, and think about when they eventually teams will start asking for more money because they are traveling, zigzagging around the world so much. Yeah, they are going probably to have problems there as well. So they have to think about all of this for the future, and that's money coming out of their pockets. I don't know. And the other thing is the amount of races. I'm really starting to think it's way too much races, and they want to expand even more. When does it all just cease to be special? For F1 used to be special. The more races that you add, the less special they are all going to be. So yeah, I don't know that part. If
I'm okay. This is my opinion. Just get that out there. But if you compare it to, so NASCAR run, I think, pretty much every week for like their 45 races a year. So they're running just consistently every week. And like you say, apart from the big events, your Daytona 500, your Talladegas, the blue ribbon events, are any of the other races special other than to the teams involved in them? They're just another race. F1's going that route where you've got your Monacos, which is obviously it's Monaco. It will always be special. But F1 used to be 12, 14 races, one a month essentially. And it was something to look forward to. Now you can sit there and have 4 weeks of races in a row, and not to say you get bored of F1, but it's like, whoa, it's nice to have a break. It's nice to have double header, great weekend off, kind of get your head around what's happening and how the racing was, come back again ready for the next one. They're going to get to the point where they're racing every 2 weeks for 8-9 months of the year. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And also sustaining crew. How are you going to sustain teams, hospitality, just everyone involved in making F1 run? They can't do it. You got families. How, I know guys in F1, and you're not at home an awful lot as it is now. That was back in the days of 20 races. You're going now 25 races. You're just never going to see your family. And yeah, you get paid well for it, but how long are you going to take a wage over seeing your kids grow up?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've been hearing this from many people that know people in Formula One. It's one of those industries that has kind of a high turnaround from personnel. So people get tired very fast, and even now, because with so many races, people get tired of it. But what they have to on their pocket is that everyone wants to work in Formula One. If you're in motorsports, F1 is still the pinnacle of motorsports. So until now, you always have, if you have a staff member going away to WEC or wherever because they feel that the schedule is not, you cannot maintain the schedule. You always have like 2 or 3 more people that want to come into Formula One and have the experience. And my question is, when is this going to stop, basically? Because with so many races, people are going to get burnt out much faster than before, and it was worse.
100%.
Yeah, it's not like you have more working hours now that you had before, because before you had like testing all year. So you had testing crew, and you have the race crew and all that. But let's be honest, the testing crew were at home or had a more structured lifestyle. So I don't know. It's I don't feel it's going to go the way they want it to go. Don't know. Let's wait and see. But making these decisions of so many races and all that stuff, and which will create more costs for the teams because they need more personnel, because they have to have more people to haul off all of that stuff and to maintain all of that stuff, because there's way more. The race teams don't have one pit. The everything you see on television, they bring it to all races. So pit boxes are not like that. They are just empty warehouses, and that they put all of that stuff there. Those pretty things that you see there, it's all just for that weekend, and they put it there when they get there, and they take it out. And you have much more experience than me in this, but it's when you go to a testing section, you don't have all of that stuff there most of the times. So
well, no, F1 do. They'll go and they'll
F1 too, yeah, but
yeah, it's basically an empty concrete pit wall with the fencing on it, and then all the racks are put up there for them, all the hospitalities for everything, the whole circus, as they call it, is dismantled every day, like every Sunday night after the race. Take it all down. By Monday, the motorhome trucks are rolling out, especially with they like the Red Bull stations and everything they call them now, the motorhomes hospitality units. They're rolling out either on freight to the next circuit by road or to the nearest airport and getting flown somewhere to be picked up by a next lot of trucks and then that crew's been flown out as well to then get on it, take it to the next circuit, build it all again.
Yeah, and they have more than one. Let's not kid ourselves. They have more than one. When they are in Europe, there's another whole setup going to Canada or going to Brazil.
Oh yeah, it's not. It's ridiculous money, really, but it's what the show that is needed to be the pinnacle.
Yeah, but when will it start that you will have to spend more and more money to maintain all of these races, and they coming out with budget caps because
but they'll just change the rules.
Yeah,
let's be honest, they'll just rewrite the rules, and they'll do the price cap won't include hospitality units because for wellness and mental resilience, and so people, that's what they'll do. They'll just rewrite it, and then all of a sudden the money they were trying to save, they'll just spend even more millions on their hospitality units because they can.
Yeah, and one of those Red Bull is known for that. They even have, I think they still have the energy center for Monaco, and that's it's on a boat.
The floating one, yeah.
The floating one. I don't know if they only use it for Monaco or they just go.
I think they take it. I mean, Red Bull, obviously, they have their F1 energy station that follows the team around, but then they have an energy station at the motocross, the MotoGP. So you can understand their one because marketing-wise, Red Bull have always been number one at that. Just got it on point.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It seems that the future is on those parts is a little, at least for me, it's a little bit uncertain. I've been watching F1 for quite a long time now. You've been watching for more than me, but I'm not going to call you old, but you are old.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, I just want to see it being sustainable. With all of the talks about sustainability and budget caps and all of that, it seems that some decisions that they are making are going against that. And I don't know, they have to sort that out. And the way that they are putting up the calendar doesn't seem to make much sense. I don't know. Let's see what the future brings on that part. So yeah, I think we're all done for today. We still next weekend we still don't have a Grand Prix, so one more week without Formula One. Next week we'll maybe have a little surprise.
Hopefully have a guest,
and have
hopefully.
a guest, and have a good talk outside Formula One, and probably give a preview for a track that we didn't have. The last time we went there was 2019. So Singapore, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about that and the shame that is that they don't run the triple chicane. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to throw that in there for the next episode because it was a meme. Let's call it. It doesn't. That expression didn't exist back then, but it was a meme corner. Yeah. So let's see. Next week we'll keep our promise of bringing you a podcast every week. Next week we'll probably have a guest talk about stuff outside of Formula One, but within motorsports. It's a episode that I'm looking forward to, and we'll talk about Singapore too. So I would like to thank you for watching on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, please leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell and all that stuff that I don't really understand. Follow us on our social media. Just search for Bump Draft Pray in every social media. Please give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review, because it helps a lot in Apple Podcasts, even more than in other platforms, because we are going to be suggested to more people, and the more people that we have, the more that we can do to the podcast. We may be able to bring some more surprises for people if we get a little bit more traction. If you want to ask us anything, just contact us at bdappodcast@gmail.com. That's our email. I've been your host, Pedro Barbosa. My handle is at Pedro Barbosa SR. And I've been joined with our resident former racing driver, Mr. Earl Goddard, and you can find him at Earl Goddard with 2 Ds anywhere, if it is Twitter. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Cheers, guys.
Bump Draft and Pray is an independent podcast, and the music was by Letting Punks Know.